I wish I was partying. We're just kind of like off the strip now at a local bar called Buffalo Wild Wings. Gonna get some booze and wind down a little bit. I've got a flight to catch in approximately 2 hours. But what a week! You know, we're ending the year on a strong note. It's been a good week having MMA India finally at a UFC pay-per-view in the fight capital of the world. And yeah, looking forward to kind of talking through, the event tonight with you to kind of bookend what has been a pretty good week of coverage for MMA India.
Yeah, and you rightly noted that this is the first time MMAindia.com has been at a PPV. For America, of course, in India everything is free anyway. So in India there's no PPVs, no, other nights, but it is, of course. By that we mean the much bigger fights. UFC 219 is much bigger than either Singapore, Shanghai, or Winnipeg that we've all been to. It's it is the biggest fight, and of course in Las Vegas itself. So this is a big one for us, and like Chamatkar said, it was a big week. So let's get into it straight away. There were some amazing fights. Amazing fight card. We'll talk about the main card. The first fight, of course, was Carlos Condit versus Neil Magny, the return of Carlos. And, like you said, he did seem a little rusty.
Yeah, look, I'm a firm believer in things like cage rust or ring rust. It had been around 16 months since Carlos Condit last fought. He was coming off some losses. Don't really know what to expect. Neil Magny got the job done. Good for him, He's been, one of those guys that's been fighting fairly consistently. And he put it on Carlos Condit. There was no controversy at all about it. Magny clearly won the fight. On my scorecard at least, and also the judges' scorecard as well. And this was a big win for Neil Magny. Carlos Condit was a marquee name, former interim welterweight champion. Widely regarded as a legend, considering how long he's been fighting. And so for Neil Magny to have Carlos Condit's name on his resume in that win column is massive. Where Carlos Condit goes from here now, who knows? Because he really wasn't banking on dealing with a loss. And we spoke about that earlier this week. He thought he was going to come back, get this, fight out of the way, get a win, and then kind of kick on from there again. So I don't know where this leaves Carlos Condit. Does he contemplate retirement? Does he kind of go back to the drawing board? Does he come back to this now looking again, once again, in a situation where, maybe a couple more fights, and the fighting division in the UFC is 175 weight class.
Yeah. Now, like you rightly said, he came back with a lot of hope. And losing to Neil Magny, I mean, it would be a very strange place because he can't go higher than that. And to go to a fighter, I mean, in terms of ranking lower than that, means you're really starting again, at a much lower, and then you got to work yourself all the way up again. And whether he has that motivation or not at this stage of his career, where he has already achieved so much. He was the interim champ. He's had some amazing fights. And in the pre-fight, he did say, of course, he had learned a lot of things, but like you rightly said, there was a lot of cage rust, which was evident. And is now the right time to retire? I think only he can take that decision, but I think we will hear from him very soon. And
yeah, 100%. I agree with everything that you just said there. If anything, I would like to perhaps see Carlos Condit, if he does want to continue to fight fights, probably Lorna, coming off now a couple of losses, maybe that'll make sense. Who would love to see Carlos Condit hit the ass fight again? I think it would be good for him to be used by the UFC, in a fashion where it's main value. Don't put him up against the current killers of the weight class. I think Carlos Condit needs to be rehabbed a little bit when it comes to matchmaking. So yeah, but we'll see. It's very kind of interesting where Carlos Condit goes from here because nobody really knows the answer because it's Carlos Condit. Who knows if he was ever going to come back to the first place. The last time we saw him fight a year and a half ago, we thought that was it, and he came back. And he's obviously been very outspoken about brain injury, brain trauma, taking damage, long-term health. So how much that impacts his decision making down the road, we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, now moving to the next fight, Cynthia Calvillo versus Carla Esparaza. This was a fight a lot of people thought Cynthia was going to win. But Carla really ground out a really good fight and comeback to really put her name out there again.
Yeah, I mean, what an amazing performance by Carla Esparaza. I think everybody Cynthia to win. She's looked so amazing in such a short amount of time since turning pro. And we spoke about this in the pre-show, how I was in Glasgow and witnessed defeat Joanne Holm in her own backyard. And it's been clear that she's a favorite. Why she's been getting the promotional push by the UFC. But credit to Carla, a former champion, of course, and I think it was a period of time where I think everybody thought, maybe Carla isn't elite, maybe she can't, win her way back to title contention. Well, she's proven very wrong. What I did tonight was brilliant, was fantastic for her. I think she's and you could be talking about her, contending for the title again. And it's good to see. I'm fascinated to see, how fighters, when they're on a bit of a low, how they can rebuild themselves, how they can rebuild their role, brand, and their see the reputation and call it a fantastic job out there.
Now, moving to the next fight, I was a little disappointed in, of course, Diekiese. Do you think fighters are starting to get the measure of him?
Oh, that's a tough one because, Marc Diekiese had been coming from the UK with so much hype and everyone was touting him as the next wave, the next generation of fighters coming out of the UK, a big time prospect. And he got so many highlight reel knockouts on his resume, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was interesting. We spoke about the previous show. How was Marc going to deal coming off the loss for the very first time in his career? At the same time, Dan Hooker, the kind of knock against him, if you look at his kind of performances in the UFC, was inconsistency, the inability to string a few wins together. But I think the move back lot. And again, shows was excellent by Dan and the hand, who then also use that as an opportunity.
Okay. I think Chamatkar has paused for a little bit. So if he comes back. Hold on for a little bit while he makes his way back. Okay, let's just cut this and call him again. Sorry guys, I have a slight cold today. And there you go. And there we are, back with Chamatkar. Sorry, we lost you there for a bit. It got hung. Can you hear us? Because everybody knows what he's, famous and really good at. He didn't seem to have a plan B, unfortunately, and the mauling that Khabib gave him, I think, was even a little more than anybody expected.
Well, to be honest with you, this is exactly what I expected and what I was hoping for. I've been a big fan of Khabib Nurmegedov for such a long time, like many are and have been as well. But even by my kind of my expectations, what he did tonight was the most dominant performance I've ever seen out of him. He's 25-0 now. In my opinion, belt or no belt, he is the best lightweight fighter in the world. And I personally felt it was so dominant that Edson Barboza's cornerman should have actually thrown him in the towel. There was actually no offense that he was able to tee off on Khabib. It was 100% one-way traffic from Khabib throughout the entire fight. And what Khabib's done now is he's, I think, allayed anyone's fears about weight cutting. He looked fantastic on the scales this week. I think he did all the right things in terms of preparation and nutrition. So I think now hopefully any haters of his that keep bringing up past weight cut issues will put that to bed.
Yeah.
Then he's reminded everybody exactly who he is, how dominant he is. We're talking about the elite of the elite. It's just we are honestly witnessing, in my opinion, greatness in Khabib. He's undefeated, and I've always gone on the record as saying I will never ever pick against a fighter that is undefeated. Unless somebody can kind of break the formula and prove me wrong, I will always pick an undefeated fighter until something goes wrong, and which can always happen in this sport. But be in MMA and be 25-0 is ridiculous. And then he parlayed that by having a fantastic post-fight press conference. He wants that fight with Tony Ferguson. He's calling the title of 25-0 the real championship in the lightweight division. He wants to fight 3 times next year, in April before Ramadan, then just after Ramadan, and then once again at the end of the year, perhaps in November or December. He wants to be more consistent. And I just think it's a reminder, but also a breath of fresh air, just seeing Khabib perform the way he did. And I think he's now starting to engage and connect a lot more, a lot better with the fan base. There was a really cool moment with Joe Rogan at the weigh-in yesterday, and again in the post-fight interview. I think that's just the imagery of him kind of providing him the hat and sharing his traditional headwear for Pakistan. It's very, very cool to see that. And for me, it was by a country mile the performance of the entire night.
Yeah, and what I want to lay emphasis on is this is Edson Barboza we're talking about. He's no walkover. He is one of the elite. I have a lot of respect for this guy. He has won some amazing battles, and the only fight he had lost, I think, in his last run was to Tony Ferguson. Otherwise, he has been pretty, confident and dominant as well. And but to beat him in the fashion he did really showed the class that Khabib is in. Because Edson did try to get in a couple of kicks, and very strong kicks, which would have really bothered anybody else. But Khabib just tried to sort of, seemed to shake it off. And even in the post-fight conference, he did talk about it. They were hurting, but I'm not going to think about it because I'm thinking about winning and beating this guy up. I'm not thinking about, it's going to hurt on the flight back. And that just shows the mentality of this guy. I mean, he is a special guy. Like you said, we are witnessing greatness. A guy who has that kind of demeanor, a guy who fights like that and so much pressure, cardio, everything. He was just spot on. It would be amazing now. I think the world is waiting to see him fight either Tony Ferguson or Conor McGregor and see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you look at what Khabib did tonight, that is the epitome of why we love this sport. We love this sport so much because there are instances and moments and fighters like Khabib that can do the things he did tonight. I mean, personally, I thought what he did to Edson Barboza should have been illegal. It was just such an awesome performance, and I'm just like beaming and glowing about his performance. And I'm just so excited to see what he's going to do next year and the potential fights we're going to see. Like, the prospect of seeing Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmegedov finally fight after 2 failed attempts, it gets my juices going. I really can't wait to see that.
Yeah, well, that's not the kind of imagery we want right now, but okay, we'll take your word for it. But now coming to the main fight, I mean, like you said, 2018 is going to be huge for Khabib, and we just can't wait to see more of him. Now coming to the main event, Holm versus Cris Cyborg. I don't think a lot of people were giving Holm a chance of coming out of the second or third round, and she did, I think, show a lot of resilience and toughness to last all 5 rounds, but I think she did get kind of monotonous somewhere there in between, where Cris Cyborg started figuring her out and readjusting her game plan, but Holm wasn't making the same adjustments to become unpredictable. And I think that's where, from the 3rd round onwards, Cris Cyborg started to take a lot more control.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought it was a great performance by Cris Cyborg overall. The questions that she answered was, she went for 25 minutes. She saw a 5th round for the very first time in her career. And someone like Holm, who's so strategic and so technical, like a counter puncher, Cris had to be very measured in her approach. And it didn't start off too great for her. I actually scored the 1st round for Holm.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, she started to figure her out. And as the fight went on, each round she would start to get more dominant. I thought the fact that a couple of the judges had it even going into the 5th was a little strange. I actually gave Cris rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. Speaking to some of other friends of mine in the media here, they kind of scored it the same way. Ultimately, I'm glad the decision went the way it did. It was definitely the right call. And now for me, Cris Cyborg is the GOAT. She has been dominant. Her resume is almost impeccable. She's a champion in the UFC. And I think the trick is going to be to find her the right challenges. You've got a few options now. You've got Megan Anderson. You've potentially got Amanda Nunes, the 135-pound champion, moving up in weight class. And that'll be fantastic. 2 Brazilian female champions, going at it. Perhaps in Brazil, that's how I would personally book it. Or you've also got this option of potentially super boxing. We know that super boxing is coming around the corner. Dana White wants to go into the boxing world. And if you can't find the right opponents in the featherweight division, then why not use Cyborg in a boxing match? To keep her profile out there, to use her in a blockbuster event. What I'm really happy about with regards to Cyborg is everything seems to be in harmony now. She's getting along with Dana White, she's getting along with the UFC. She's fighting consistently now. And she's fighting at a healthy weight class. She's not being made to cut to 140 pounds. So this is all coming up roses now for Cris Cyborg. I think we talked about this a little bit in the previous show. Holm was without a doubt the toughest opponent today. And we're going to find out what the heavyweight fire rates are going to be following this event in the coming weeks. But Cris Cyborg wanted this. She wanted to see how much she could move the needle with regard to headlining her own pay-per-view, being the sole champion and the sole title fight on a UFC pay-per-view card. And just an all-round great performance and a great night for Christian Cyborg Santos.
Now, of course, we're ending the year on a very high note. Cyborg. So this.
I agree.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. If I was the UFC and if I had the book, what I would do is and you do it in Brazil. 2 Brazilian female champions. The media attention that would cause and stir up in Brazil, I think would be phenomenal. And it would just be so awesome to see, 2 champions from their home country get an opportunity to fight in front of their people on the biggest stage of them all at a UFC pay-per-view event. And you probably do it at a soccer stadium for a fight like that in Brazil.
Yeah. Now, before that, of course, I think Cris Cyborg versus Meg Anderson would be perfect for Perth. Meg Anderson being Australian, that would really pull in the Aussie crowd. So I think we really look forward to that fight in Perth. And I think, it would really set the UFC 221 card on fire. Now, coming to what's going to be happening in the coming year. We've got a lot to look forward to in the year now. Of course, there's Cris Cyborg's next fight. There's Francis Ngannou versus Stipe, which is going to be, like we spoke about, one of the biggest heavyweight fights ever. And there's going to be, of course, Khabib's next fight when Conor comes back. So there's a lot for the UFC to play with in the coming year.
Yeah, 100%. I think if we're all being honest, the first 6 to 9 months of the year wasn't the greatest. I mean, there were some amazing fights and some pretty awesome cards, the blockbuster events. It took a while. It really kicked off with the event in New York with the return of GSP, and since then, the last couple of cards have been absolutely fantastic. Champions in their weight classes defending their belts, and amazing stories. Look what's happening with Max Holloway right now. TJ Dillashaw, coming back and becoming a champion once again. The return of GSP was just phenomenal. Now only amongst 4 men who have been able to become a champion in 2 different weight classes. And then even tonight, Cris Cyborg ending the year as a champion, as a defending champion, and then of course the return of Khabib to another level. But like you said, there's so much to forward to in 2018. What we've got in Boston, in my opinion, easily the most anticipated title fight, heavyweight title fight we've had in years. Miocic versus Ngannou is just an amazing fight on paper, and I'm sure that's going to deliver. GSP, I'm sure we'll see him fight again next year. The return of Conor McGregor. What's going to happen with John Jones? If he only gets a year suspension, we could potentially see him fight, in the late summer, maybe November of next year. And you've got all these emerging superstars now. Like I said, Max Holloway. You've got, Demetrius Johnson potentially going to have a super fight with TJ Dillashaw. So I think there's a lot to look forward to. And like I said earlier on, MMAindia.com has just taken so many strides this year. If you look at where the outlet and the site was and the team was, a year ago, even 6 months ago from now, leaps and bounds. And I think what our fans and what our audience is going to see is we're going to have a footprint now at a lot of, if not every, major event moving forward. So this is going to be the place to get all your content, all your top-notch coverage, because we're going to be everywhere. We're going to be on the scene covering these events from the ground up.
You are absolutely right. We are going to be everywhere, and we are also laying the groundwork in India itself, popularizing MMA, bringing it out to the people in entertaining ways, bringing them coverage and direct access to stars that they wouldn't otherwise have. And that is our mission. So we're going to continue to do that, and we're glad to have Chamatkar on board, and hopefully you're going to see a lot more of Chamatkar in the coming year, and a lot more of us. So I think we should sign off with that, and we wish everybody a very, very happy New Year, and happy New Year to you, Chamatkar, to you and your family, and thank you for being on board, and we shall see you very, very soon in the new year. And thank you once again, and happy New Year.
It'll be a very exciting 12 months for us as a team covering the sport that we love.
Awesome. Great. Thank you everyone for joining us in 2018 and today, 2017 and today, and we look forward to having you all of you with us throughout the year 2018. We will continue bringing you great MMA coverage internationally and from the country. Thank you so much, and wish everyone a very great and safe New Year. Cheers. Cheers, Chamatkar. Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.